I remember the exact moment I realized that stepping back and not engaging at all was the only way I could stop feeling drained and small in that relationship. It wasn't about being cruel, it was about protecting what was left of my own peace. If you've ever found yourself needing to create space from someone with narcissistic traits, you might have wondered what happens when you stop responding, stop reacting, and simply ignore their attempts to engage. Today, we're going to talk about how narcissists often react to being completely ignored, not to judge them, but to understand the patterns at play and to help you feel more grounded in your own choices around setting boundaries. Let's dive in. 1. The grand re-engagement. I've seen this play out both in my own life and with people I care about. After weeks of not responding to calls or messages, suddenly there's a flood of attention. Flowers delivered to your door, a long message talking about how much you mean to them and all the plans they want to make together. This kind of grand gesture reaction is one of the most common responses when a narcissist is ignored. At its core, it's tied to their need for validation and to maintain control over the relationship dynamic. For someone with narcissistic traits, being ignored can feel like a threat to their sense of self-importance. They're used to being the center of attention, and when that attention is removed, it can create what's often called a narcissistic injury. The grand gestures aren't necessarily about genuine care for you as an individual. Instead, they're an attempt to restore the status quo where they're seen as valuable and in control. First relatable example. Think of it like someone who's used to being the lead in a play. When the spotlight moves away, they might do something big to pull it back to themselves because they're not used to being off stage. 2. Subtle or overt criticism. Another scenario I've witnessed is when the silence is met with words that feel like they're meant to sting. Maybe it's a comment to a mutual friend about how you're being dramatic, or a direct message that questions your character or choices. Criticism, whether it's subtle digs or more overt attacks, often stems from the same place as grand gestures, a response to feeling unimportant or powerless. When ignored, some narcissists shift from trying to win you back to trying to bring you down. The psychological insight here is that putting you on the defensive can help them regain a sense of superiority. If they can make you feel guilty, angry, or like you're in the wrong for ignoring them, they can redirect the focus away from their own feelings of discomfort and onto your actions. It's a way to maintain their self-image by framing themselves as the wronged party or the more reasonable one. Second relatable example. Imagine if you stopped acknowledging someone who's used to getting praise from you. Instead of looking at why you've stepped back, they might start pointing out things they think are wrong with you. Because it's easier than facing the idea that they might not be the center of your world anymore. 3. Withdrawal, followed by sudden reappearance. I've had a friend describe this pattern to me. After months of no contact, just when they'd started to feel settled and healed, there's a random text, a like on an old photo, or a chance encounter where the person acts like nothing ever happened. This cycle of withdrawal and sudden reappearance is tied to how some narcissists manage their own emotions around rejection. Initially, being ignored might lead them to pull away entirely. They may tell themselves they don't need you, or focus their attention on other people who give them the validation they crave. But over time, when they feel secure again in their other relationships, they might circle back. This isn't usually about wanting to make amends. It's often about confirming that they still have access to you, that they can still get a reaction if they want it. It helps reinforce their sense that they're in control of who comes in and out of their life. Third relatable example. It's a bit like someone who puts a toy they're bored with on a shelf, only to come back to it later to check if it still works. Not because they want to play with it regularly, but to make sure it's still there when they might want it. Understanding these reactions isn't about justifying harmful behavior. It's about giving you clarity so you can stay firm in your choices if ignoring someone is what you need for your own well-being. If you're in a position where you've had to create this kind of space, remember that your peace matters. Setting boundaries, even if they mean stepping back entirely, is not a selfish act. It's about taking care of yourself, and that's essential for your mental and emotional health. The goal here isn't to change the other person, it's to empower yourself to make choices that support the life you want to live. If this video has been helpful for you or someone you know, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more content on navigating difficult relationships with compassion and clarity. Feel free to share it with anyone who might benefit from hearing this perspective. You never know who might need to hear that their well-being comes first. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourself out there.